So I'm Charles, stage name Ghul, guitarist for Mayhem. I suppose the first thing that got me into music was film. Actually, it was to Star Wars mainly. Basically anything that John Williams scored. That was kind of what got me in. That was when I realized the power of what music can do, and that was really my whole entry into falling in love with music as an art form. Around probably 12 or 13, where my brother would be listening to stuff like Metallica or Motorhead, or then later stuff like Cradle of Filth and Emperor, and because he knew the Cradle guys, so I would catch this stuff through his bedroom wall, and then it started to pique my interest a bit. So I would go and borrow tapes from him, and around I think probably 12. It would have been around the same time. It was all mixed up for me. So most people get into lighter, well, not lighter, but more straightforward bands, like for example Metallica, and then graduate towards the heavier stuff. For me, it all kind of happened at once. In fact, if anything, I was more drawn to the black metal stuff first because the atmosphere was there, and I felt something that related to what I said before about the film music. It had this cinematic element, this very atmospheric and evocative. It was a very evocative art form. It created pictures in my mind, So I would say it was all in the same kind of time. So again, around 12, 13. So I'd been playing, just doing the standard stuff like local bands, pubs, small things, bands where the only people that come are your friends, that kind of stuff. And I got to know some of the guys from that band, and not really, but we'd been to some parties together, and it just happened that I was kind of a right place, right time thing. One day they just needed someone urgently to fill in. And I just happened to be available. They called me and said, can you come and do this? And of course I said yes. I almost said no because it just seemed like such an enormous shock to my life to suddenly go from kind of nothing to that level with no walk up, no development. Normally you'd start like with the pubs, and then you go to maybe a van tour, and then you'd build your way from there. But I went straight in at that level. And I think I was pretty close to saying no, just out of apprehension, but luckily I didn't, and I went ahead and did it. And then after that, I moved to guitar because there was as you know, with that band, there's a lot of personnel, changes, or has been in the past. So yeah, it was a case of right place, right time, and then the stars kind of aligned to make it happen in the right way for me. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It's just, I don't like to talk too much about anything with that stuff because it feels like it feels petty to be, and also just unprofessional to be bad mouthing or bad talking anyone, especially when they're not here to defend themselves. But it was, I would say it was a bit of an unhealthy environment mentally, at least. To be fair, most of the music industry is, so it's not like it's unique to that band, but it was definitely challenging. It was also great, it was certainly nowhere near all bad. It was a baptism of fire, let's put it like that. So that was kind of, that happened, that was something, that was a project that came up towards the end of the time I was with Cradle, and it was just a way to express some ideas and just to explore some themes and stuff specifically to do with Britishness, and not only that, but also literary themes and all kinds of stuff, actually, historical stuff. But yeah, I mean, we didn't go as far with that as we could have done, which is a little frustrating because I listened back to some of it recently, and there was definitely some potential there. And it's not necessarily that door. It's not necessarily that door is closed, because we have been talking about maybe trying to revive it, maybe, but it's a time factor more than anything. But it's definitely not a dead. It's not totally dead, put it that way. Well, I knew Attila loosely. We'd known each other for quite a while, actually, at that point. And I'd met Hellhammer a few times as well. I knew a bit about it. Of course, I had a friend who was a super fan, so he knew everything about the legacy and the history and everything. That, you know, I think, of course, they took things to extreme, and a lot of very extreme things happened. But the kind of people that I was hanging out with in those days, they were also kind of wrong-uns, you know, so it wasn't that shocking on that level. I kind of understood the level of the people, put it that way. So it didn't disturb me as much as it would a kind of normie, because I knew people like that, and I knew people that had done some pretty messed up stuff. So it wasn't, yeah, it just felt like my people, if you know what I mean. Well, of course, you know, it's an honor to be part of something with such a huge legacy and such a huge has had such a huge impact on the music industry and not just the industry, but the art. So for me, it's a big responsibility, and also a great honor, and also it's very exciting from an artistic point of view. There is definitely I wouldn't say a guideline. It's more like a gut feeling. It fences in what we do. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't make it through, basically. And so there's a degree of freedom, but there's also a degree of that it has to fit the entity that Mayhem is. It's a very difficult thing to explain. It's also a very difficult thing to know. But you just know it when you have an idea or a riff, and everyone sits together and listens to it, and there's like, yeah, this yes or no. But there's not really a specific way I could articulate exactly what makes the yes or the no. It's like I said, it's very much a gut feeling. Who knows? The future, I hope, or what we all hope, is to just keep doing what we're doing, and for it to keep being meaningful. We definitely don't want to ever get into the situation where we're just going through the motions, or, you know, doing it for the sake of a paycheck or something. It has to continue to be something that feels like an expression, and something that feels like it has meaning to it. So as long as we keep doing that, it's impossible to predict what the future will be. I mean, I don't think anybody expected it to still be going at this point. So every year we you know, every time we make another year and we add another year to the tally, it feels like a win. I think the line that should never be crossed, the only line really, is that it should never become inauthentic. That's the only thing. I think that's the thing that makes the difference with how it impacts people or how it doesn't. I mean, you see tons of projects that just never make it because people can feel that it's like it's a skin suit. It's not the real deal. You know, it's an imitation or a gimmick. And I think that that's the line that should never be crossed. It should always be authentic. I don't know how to do anything else. I mean, yeah, this is just what I do, and it's what I've kind of always done.
So, honestly, it's I suppose you could call it a compulsion. It's like an addiction almost to you. I complain about.
Oh, we all do. We complain about
everything non-stop, but
we keep coming back because we can't not. I think the thing that people get wrong mostly is just the kinds of people.
I mean, we're
definitely the kind of people that live a little bit on the edge of society, but I think people are always extremely surprised how approachable and I don't want to say
nice because that's just a really uninteresting word, but how
firstly how much we are not thugs or not scary to speak to, and also how much we do for the fans, and how, like I say, how approachable we are with people. I think people always have this vision of Mayhem being this incredibly scary band, and that's because the art and the entity of the band is. But the people involved are sort of shockingly approachable, and yeah, I think that's probably the biggest misconception, is what kinds of people we are. And I think there's a lot of people that think that we're extremely negative people and sort of hateful and negative. I think that's what a lot of the people who don't understand us, that's one of the major things I see online, is this idea that we're some sort of hate group or something. It just couldn't be further from the truth. Well, actually, it comes from Batman. Yeah, that's where it comes from. The Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, that's where it came from, because I was super into the lore of that at the time when we were discussing it, and I don't know, it just seemed to fit somehow. I liked it. It was this sort of shadowy thing that existed in this dark urban environment, and it kind of somehow made sense. I suppose the thing that I would like people to remember about what I've done is just that I meant it. That's what's important to me. I think I want people to know that everything I did, I meant it. Nothing was done for show or to be, to try and be a rock star or be famous or something. I don't care about any of that stuff. I only care about doing this because, like I said, it's something I've been compelled to do my whole life. And I think that's what I just want people to that's what I would like people to see me as. Unfortunately, we don't get to choose how people see us, so who knows? Well set. Cool.